Welcome to the Changemakers Podcast with your hosts, Jim and Larry. Jim and Larry will share the stories of everyday people doing extraordinary things to improve their communities, help the people in them, and make the world a better place.
Hey, everybody. We are live. Changemakers podcast interview number 1, season 1, episode 1. Larry, how do you feel about all this?
I feel really excited. Every interview we did was amazing. This man that you'll be hearing from in a second is just one of the most passionate people I've ever met about his hometown community, Phoenix. So
For sure.
We're really excited to have him on tonight.
Yeah, for me, it was really interesting. When we put together the Changemakers event, we were able to highlight the stories of 45 just ordinary, everyday people that were doing extraordinary things. And, you know, we talked about this as we were hosting the event. We've talked about it several times since, that the goal was to expose people to what a changemaker was and what they could do, and hopefully inspire a new generation of changemakers. But I got to tell you, the impact on me was probably a much bigger impact than I anticipated.
Yeah, I felt the same way too. Just the inspirational stories about what you can do with just, you know, a little bit of resources and a lot of spirit. So that's what tonight, and that's what the Changemakers are about.
Yeah, and we're going to talk tonight about Brother Anthony. And Brother Anthony, Larry, you shared a little bit about him and his passion. Where did you say where he was from?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. Now, why is that relevant to you, Larry?
Well, Phoenix is one of my adopted hometowns. I spent most of my adult life in Phoenix. Had my family there, my business there, you know, so Phoenix has been a big part of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So what the podcast is going to look like is we're going to share the story of the Changemaker. We're going to replay the interview, and then we're going to talk about what additionally we've learned about the Changemaker. So we're going to get started right away, and with no further ado, we're going to talk about Brother Anthony. All right, everybody, we are back with more Changemakers, and we have someone on here that I'm excited to introduce the world to. I just really learned his story, got a referral from a gentleman that I think the world of, and he said, you got to talk to Brother Anthony. And I said, who's Brother Anthony? And he said, isn't that why you're doing this program? So people that you don't know their stories, you get to hear them. I said, well, as a matter of fact, it is. So, man, I'm excited to have you here, Anthony Glover. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So this is really what Changemakers was all about. And for those of you that are just tuning in, what Changemakers 21 is, it's highlighting the stories of 45 Changemakers for the year 2021 from all over the world that are making a difference and sharing the stories that you otherwise wouldn't hear. And Brother Anthony's story is one of those. So he was nominated because he is a change maker in am I saying this right, in the Phoenix, Arizona area?
Yes.
And actively involved in a ton of things, teaching young men and all men life skills. So let me see if I get the list right. You're an author, a foundation creator, starter, owner, nonprofit leader. You volunteer your time, and on top of that, you're a poet. Is that right?
Correct. I am an LLC. I'm not a nonprofit yet, but I'm an LLC. Yes.
That's fantastic. You know what I think is really cool, and that's what's great about this. When we first did the Changemakers series for ReVitalize, we highlighted 15 nonprofits. And what I found in here, I love hearing the stories. The nonprofits, you know what they do, you know what they're about. But there's other businesses and there's people that are doing things that are so great. And your story is one of those. Congratulations on being recognized as a change maker. And I'm just going to get right to this. What inspired you to do what you do? And let's start with the children's book.
Well, everybody that knows me knows that I love my city, my hometown, my community. And as I get older, I just feel like I just want to do as much as I can to contribute to the empowerment of my community. The city of Phoenix has come a long way, and we are still growing. We're one of the fastest growing cities in America. And I just feel like I want to contribute to my city and my community and be involved in the movement, and as well as our youth in our community. The youth is something I feel like is the key to our community, to our future. So I feel like that's one area that I want to kind of stick to. And a lot of what I do is targeted towards the youth.
And you wrote a book. Tell us about the book.
Yes, I Can't Wait to Be a Man. So I wrote this book during the pandemic. So I've been a mentor for the past 5 to 6 years. We get to do all kinds of cool things and go out, have activities and trips. But when the pandemic hit, of course, that kind of shut a lot of it down. So I wanted to find a unique and a different kind of way I can reach out to young men, not just in my community, but around the world. And I figured, you know what? I can write a book and I can mail them my book. And then that way I can get at younger boys that are younger than the boys I usually mentor. So I decided to write a children's book called I Can't Wait to Be a Man. And it's narrated by a young boy who's excited, and he's talking about all the lessons and gems he received from his dad and his uncle about what it is to be the best man he can be. So every page has a specific lesson that he's talking about, whether it's chivalry, standing up for yourself, taking care of your responsibilities, just so many different lessons that young men can take right now and practice as boys while they're on their journey to becoming teenagers and ultimately men. So it's something like a reference book for young boys.
That's absolutely great. Now tell us about the 2-day workshop that you put on and that you do. What is that, and how did that come about?
Yes, Useful Hands PHX. It's a 2-day program where I teach young men how to use a charcoal grill, how to fish, essential auto care, and woodwork as well. And this was something I also created during the pandemic. The program that I've been mentoring with for the past 5 to 6 years is incredible. It's more of a classroom setting. Every now and then we take trips and have different activities. But out of all the mentors, I'm kind of like the country boy of the crew. And they all know I like to work with my hands. I like to fix things. I like to build things. And some of the things that we weren't doing in the program, I wanted to just create a program on the side and, kind of do something on my own. So it was more of a hands-on experience. And I notice a lot of the young men that I mentor over the past 5 to 6 years, I want to say 90% of them do not have fathers, nor uncles, because Phoenix is a city where a lot of people move to. So when they move out here with their mothers, they have no family around, no uncles. So a lot of me and my guys consider ourselves community uncles. So we're going to be the uncle in the city, in the community. And I wanted to kind of fill that void of the positive male figure in their life. So they could take our program, and then also we have my program, Useful Hands PHX, where I can teach them how to change a flat tire, teach them how to cook their own food on the charcoal grill, not be so scared of using the fire, teach them how to fish, and teach them how to fix things. And just in case they're around the house and the mom needs some help, they will know how to do certain things around the house. They will know how to change the tire if it needs to be done. And I just kind of want to equip them with different skills they can take as young men to take on their journey as man to manhood as well.
That's great. Well, when I heard about you, the gentleman, Harold Branch, HB, to his friends and people that know him, said, this is a guy that never fails to show up no matter who needs him. And that was listed in your nomination form, which I thought was really, really telling, because there's so many people that are like, let me know if I can do anything, until you ask them if they can do anything. And then they're like, whoa, hold on. I didn't know you were really going to ask, right? But you show up and do things throughout your community and mentor these young men and have provided some great things. What inspired you? Why did you get involved in this?
Well, someone who has a father that got to teach me all kinds of different things, the more I got involved into mentoring young men, and I realized how many of them didn't have fathers. And while at the same time feeling like I felt the future was our youth. When I realized that, I felt somewhat of an obligation or responsibility to start being more active and not just wait to be involved, but initiate different things. I just felt like there was so much in my city that wasn't happening. And I didn't want to be one of the people sitting back criticizing what we don't have and what we need. I wanted to initiate the things that we don't have and that we need in our community. So I just didn't want to be one of the people on the sidelines and talking about what we don't have. It was one day I just say, you know what, I'm going to have to start initiating things. I'm going to have to start showing up without being asked to do it. And the more I started doing that, the more I wanted to keep doing it. And it started to grow. My passion started to grow. every year, every month, every 2 years, my passion just kept growing and growing. It was like a snowball effect every year. And now it's almost like an addiction, an obsession to be involved in my community. I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I plan on being involved in my community and empowerment of my community until I'm an old man.
That's great, man. Well, let me give you the last 30 seconds to do two things. And if you need 30 seconds each, that's fine. But tell people how to get a hold of your book, for one, and how to get a hold of you and your organization if they're in the Phoenix area. How do they find you?
Yes, my book, I Can't Wait to Be a Man. That's the title of my book. And you can purchase my book on the website, ican'twaittobeaman.com. That is my website. And
so simple. You know, if I could have picked it, it would have been just that. So well done.
Absolutely.
And what about go ahead.
UsefulHandsPHX.com. My program is called UsefulHandsPHX.com. And on that website, you can find all the videos and cool things that I do with the youth. There's a donation link on there. And if you're interested in enrolling, there's an enrollment link on there as well. And as far as Facebook and Instagram, Useful Hands as well. Useful Hands PHX.
Awesome, man. Congratulations on being selected. So here's what I want you to do in the last, as we close it out, and then we'll take it back to our co-host. But tell me this. There are going to be people that hear what you're doing. There are going to be people that are inspired to do something, but they're going to be scared. And that's okay. I was talking to one of the change makers, and they said, my advice to you is do it afraid. Right. And I thought that was really cool. But for you, I'd like to have you share your words of wisdom, advice on someone that wants to do something. Where could they start? Maybe if they don't have the resources that you have, how do they get involved and do something?
Well, I actually get that question a lot because I get a lot of people who want to get involved with me and help out. They just don't know where to start. And I was at that stage as well. I wanted to do all these cool things, but I did not know where to start. I was just so overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with the beginning stage. And I had to just kind of accept that, you know what, you're going to bump your head. It's going to happen. So just start. Whatever kind of idea that you have in your head, just do it. Don't wait on it. Will you bump your head a couple times? You might. You have to accept that. And once you accept that you might bump your head a couple times and be comfortable with the idea of bumping your head, it's going to be so much easier. And you're going to get used to dodging, those bumps in the roads. So I would just say, just do it. Do it, like you said, do it scared, do it nervous, and don't be afraid to bump your head. It's going to happen. And the more you start doing it, the more strong you will get, and it'll get easier as you go.
Awesome. Brother Anthony, thank you so much for being on here. Congratulations on being selected in this initial class of Changemakers 2021 for ReVitalize. There is a ReVitalize Phoenix chapter. So for those of you that are in the Phoenix area, go to Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. There's a chapter in Phoenix for ReVitalize. And Brother Anthony, we'll make sure your information is listed there so people can find you as well. We're going to send it back to our co-host, Larry Cohn, as we continue with Changemakers 21. I really enjoyed that interview with Brother Anthony. It was fun to do, and just what an incredible guy.
For sure. Amazing guy. Again, like I said, so passionate about his community.
Yeah, and I want to read this quote that he said, and I'm paraphrasing a couple things, but he said he felt a responsibility. You can't just wait to be involved. You have to initiate things. I felt like there was so much in my city that wasn't happening, and I didn't want to be one of the people sitting back and criticizing what we don't have and what we need. I wanted to initiate providing the things we don't have and the things we need in our community. And then he went on to say, I just didn't want to be one of the people on the sidelines talking about what we don't have. And the more I did it, the more I wanted to keep doing it. It's almost an addiction or an obsession being involved in the community. And I think that's a common thread amongst the change makers, that they just keep going no matter what adversity they hit. He wrote his book during the pandemic.
Right.
And
developed some of his programs during the pandemic.
Yeah. So for those that are watching it, this is a copy of his book for those that are listening to it. So he wrote a book called I Can't Wait to Be a Man. And I think it's really cool. Some of the things that happened in here under the special thanks section, Brother Anthony talks about how, well, in the interview, I'm kind of combining two things, but in the interview, he talks about he works for an organization, and he specifically gives special thanks to that organization. It's called Fight for Life, No Excuses Mentoring Program. And he recognized that there were some things that weren't happening in that program. Not that there was anything wrong, just that he felt there was an additional need when he realized 90% of the area didn't have fathers, didn't have positive male figures. And I think that's what change makers do, Larry. They identify a problem and they fix it.
Yeah, and he really nailed it with Phoenix, because Phoenix is a transient city. So many people move there from someone else. So the extended family that might happen in other cities isn't as common in Phoenix, and he really fills that gap.
Yeah, for sure. And Brother Anthony, just a great guy. He's a poet. He's also, we had some fun facts we learned about him. He's a cowboy.
Yeah, I mean, with all the things he does, it's amazing that he finds time to volunteer. He says a few days a week at a horse rescue ranch. So just really an impressive individual.
Yeah, just a great guy. So with that, you can stay tuned for more episodes of Changemakers. Each and every week, we're going to drop a new episode featuring a new changemaker, including a couple random things that we throw in throughout the year so that you can stay informed and stay on top of it. Larry, the last 20 seconds are going to be yours.
Yep. Thank you for listening, and we hope that you'll take away some of his passion and put it back into your community. Until next time, be well.
If you like this podcast, make sure you subscribe and follow Jim and Larry on all social media at Jim and Larry Team, or visit the website at www.thejimandlarryteam.com. This has been the Changemakers Podcast. For more episodes or to connect with our Changemakers, visit thepodcastforchangemakers.com. And don't forget to connect with us and use the hashtag the Changemakers Podcast everywhere.